In this video, we are gonna do or learn about proportions with double number lines. The notes are VL-633. Let's begin. So there are lots of ways. Well, let me start with the directions first. Create and use a double number line to answer the following questions. It costs $6 for 2 pounds of pears. How much would it cost for 8 pounds of pears? Now, you may be thinking, I already know the answer. That's great. There are lots of ways you can figure out how to do this. You can figure out how much it costs for 1 pound of pears and then multiply afterward. You can also set up something called a proportion. For this, we're gonna set up something called a double number line. It's just a tool that we can use to help us solve problems. So for example, they already have one set up for us. There's a 0 on top and a 0 on bottom. And the way we use double number lines is we use them when we're trying to compare two different things. In this case, it's the cost of pears and the number of pounds. So we need to label. On top, we can put cost. On pears, on the bottom, it's pounds, which is LBS. Now, if you want to put a dollar sign instead of the word cost, or POUNDS for pounds, that's up to you. That's fine. And also the nice thing with the double number line, it doesn't matter what you put on top and what you put on bottom. You can put cost on the bottom and pounds on top. It's just that how you line up your numbers afterward does matter. So let me give you an example. They tell us that it costs $6 for 2 pounds of pears. So the cost would be 6. So I'm going to put a notch in the line. That would be $6, right? And 2 pounds of pears. Now, if you did a different number line, or if you put your pounds on top and your costs on bottom, well, you'd put the 2 on top and 6 on bottom. And so from here, but let's stick with what we have, cost on top, pounds on bottom. The follow-up question, how much would it cost for 8 pounds of pears? So the pounds of pears, which is on the bottom, is going to be 8. So where would 8 be? It's 8, somewhere. If 0 is over here, this is 2, 8 would be over there. Now, if this is 2, how do I get from 2 to 8? How do I get from 6 to, this is the thing I need to figure out. The cost of 8 pounds of pears. So there are a couple ways you can do this. I'm going to show you a couple of, the longer ways to think about it. Well, if $6 for 2, you may be thinking like 4 would be double that. And then, because you're just doubling it. And 4 to 8, you're doubling that. So from 12 to 24. That's one way of using a double number line. Another way you can think of it is, well, if it's $6 for 2, 12 for 4, another $6 for 6, so that's like 18, and another 2 pounds will get us another 6, 24. So it's almost like you're adding. But rather than doing all that, I'm just going to kind of jump to how I would do it, which cuts out all of that. What we want to ask ourselves is, how do I get from 2 to 8? Like, when we're talking proportions, we're talking about relationships that are multiplicative, which means you're either going to multiply or divide. No adding and subtracting it with this. So how do I get from 2 to 8? Well, I multiply, right? Multiply what? Multiply 4. So 2 times 4 gets us 8. And if you're not sure about that, how you can figure that is to just do division. How do I get from 8 to 2? Well, just do 8 divided by 2, and guess what? Your answer ends up being 4. So now that I figured out to get from 2 to 8, I multiply by 4. To get from 6 to my mystery number, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to multiply by 4. So 6 times 4 is 24. So it cost, right here, 24 is the cost, which is at top. So it costs $24 for 8 pounds of pears. Let's try another one. In example number 2, they do not draw a number line for us, so we have to draw our own. So let's read it first. Adriana skipped 6 feet in 5 seconds. At that rate, how long will it take for her to skip 42 feet? All right, Adriana, skipping 6 feet in 5 seconds. So let's draw a double number line. Starts off with zeros, which, you can, or you don't necessarily have to write the zeros. But the two things being compared are skipping 6 feet in 5 seconds. So let's put feet on top and seconds on bottom. Again, it does not matter where I put the feet or the seconds, whether they can be reversed, seconds being on top or feet can be on the bottom. It's up to you, as long as you line up the numbers correctly. The 6 goes with the feet, so let's put a notch over here. We're talking about 6 feet in 5 seconds. At that rate, how long will it take for her to skip? 42 feet. So, 42 is much bigger than 6 feet, so it's going to be somewhere up there. And we're going to write 42 at the top with the feet. So how do I get from 6 to 42? That is the question. How do I go from 6 to 42? You know, you multiply by 1. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. Or, if you're not sure, you can just divide. What is 42 divided by 6? What is 42 divided by 6? My handy calculator is saying 42 divided by 6 is 7. So what that means is 6 times 7 gets us 42. And if you're not sure, you can just try it. 6, 12, 18, 24, you know, go on, so forth. And you do find out that 6 times 7 does equal 42. You can also use a calculator for that. All right, so to get from 6 to 42, I multiply by 7. So if I want to get from 5 to my mystery number, I'm also going to multiply by 7. And what is 5 times 7? It is 35. Goodness gracious, I'm really bad with my multiplication right now. So if she wants to skip 42 feet, it's going to take her 35 seconds. So let's write that answer down. 35 seconds. Let's try example number 3. Again, they do not draw a double number line for us, so we have to draw it ourselves. Let's read first. Julio burned 200 calories after 8 minutes of exercise. At this rate, how many calories did he burn after 2 minutes? So, here we go. Here's my double number line. It starts off with zeros. The two things being compared are the number of calories, burning 200 calories, and minutes of exercise. So, calories burned on top, minutes of exercise on the bottom. So it says 200 calories in 8 minutes. 200 calories in 8 minutes. At this rate, how many calories did he burn after 200 minutes? So we don't know the calories after 2 minutes. Oh, 2 minutes. 2 minutes isn't over here. 2 minutes is like right over there. So 2 minutes. So a couple ways we can do this. We can say like, oh, well, you know, how do I get from 2 to 4 to 6 or 2 to 4 to double? But instead of doing all that, I'm going to ask myself, how do I get from 8 to 2? Again, we can't use subtraction or addition. Obviously, you wouldn't use addition to get from 8 to 2, but how do I get from 8 to 2? Well, if you're not sure, you just divide 8 divided by 2. And I find out that 8 divided by 2 is 4, which means 8 divided by 4 gets us 2. And you can check your calculator. Does 8 divided by 4 equal 2? Yes, it does. So to get from 200 to my mystery number, guess what? I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm going to divide by 4. So 200 divided by 4 gets me 50. So after 2 minutes, he only burned 50 calories. And after 8 minutes, he burned 200. So this one was a little bit different because I actually went backwards this time instead of forward. Let's try example 4. We've got, draw my double number line. The ratio of apple juice to pineapple juice in fruit punch is 5 to 4. If there are 10 cups of pineapple juice in the punch bowl, how many cups of apple juice are there? So two things I'm comparing are apple juice and apple juice to pineapple. It's 5 to 4. Apple juice goes first, so that's the 5. Pineapple juice is second, that's the 4. So let's go ahead and write apple juice and pineapple juice. A and P. My apple juice is 5. My pineapple juice is 4. And it says that there are 10 cups of pineapple juice. All right, so where is the 10? 10 goes down here It is the pineapple juice. And how do I get from 4 to 10? Gosh, this is going to be tough. I don't know how to get from 4 to 10. So you can use some, your double number line to jump forward and backward, but, you may have realized 4 times, you can't get from 4 to 10 without multiplying by some kind of decimal. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, all right, what's 10 divided by 4? 10 divided by 4 is 2.5, which means if you multiply 4 times 2.5, you're going to get 10. And you can check to make sure, does 2.5 times 4 equal 10? It does. So we are going to multiply 4 by 2.5 to get 10. So guess what we're doing to the top? Guess what we're doing to 5? That's right, we are multiplying by 2.5. And that's going to get us 12.5. Oh, whoops. 12.5, here we go. So we are going to use 12.5 cups of apple juice. I think we can assume that we mean apple juice. So that was a weird one, and that's where, you're going to use your knowledge of proportions to know, okay, well, I can use division to figure out 4 times what equals 10. Let's try 2 more problems. Example 5. A large necklace has 12 white beads for every 18 red beads. A small necklace has the same ratio of white to red beads, but only has 6 red beads. How many white beads does it have? So we've got large and small necklaces, same ratio of beads, just a different number of them, because larger necklaces require more beads. So what are the 2 things we're comparing here? Not a large to small necklace, but a white beads to red beads. So we'll put white on top, red on the bottom. And it says 12 white beads for every 18 red beads. A small necklace has the same ratio of white to red beads, but only has 6 red beads. So 6 red beads, where's 6? It's not after 18, it's actually before 18. So go backwards here. How many white beads would it have? So question is, how do I get from 18 to 6? Well, if you're not sure, 18 divided by what equals 6, you can do 18 divided by 6. You find 3. Oh, so 18 divided by 3 is going to get us 6, which means what I'm going to do at the top is also divide by 3. And 12 divided by 3 is 4. So we would have 4 white beads is our answer. Last question. Example 6. Constance sells ice cream cones. On Monday, she sold 115 ice cream cones and earned $460. On Tuesday, she only earned $184. How many ice cream cones did she sell on Tuesday? We're going to assume that Constance is selling all these ice cream cones for the same price. It's not like one flavor is worth more than others. It doesn't have different sizes. It's just selling ice cream cones. So what are the 2 things being compared here that we are going to label our double number line with? It's she sold ice cream and earned money. On Tuesday, she earned money, and they're asking for how many ice cream cones she sold. So the 2 things we're comparing is the cost of ice cream cones, the money earned, not cost of ice cream cones, but the money earned compared with the number of ice cream. Number of ice. Just feels weird to stop it at ice. So number of ice cream compared with the cost at the top. All right, so on Monday, she sold 115 ice cream cones and earned $460. Oops, that's kind of weird. I actually put the number of ice creams second, so that goes on the bottom. And you may have been thinking like, oh, wait, I put the ice cream on top and the money on the bottom. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that, as long as you line up your numbers properly. And earned $460 for selling 115. On Tuesday, she only earned $184. So from $460, she only earned $184. So how many ice creams did she sell? Well, how did I get from 460 to 184? I certainly cannot figure this out of my head. 460 divided by what equals 184? If I want to figure this out, I'm going to do 460 divided by 184. Oh, it looks like the answer is 2.5. So what this means is 460 divided by 2.5 gets us 184. I'm going to type that in my calculator, and I am correct. 460 divided by 2.5 equals 184. So what am I going to do to the 115 right here? Well, I'm going to do the same exact operation. I'm going to divide by 2.5. So 115 divided by 2.5, I find out that she only sold 46 ice creams. Oh, ice cream cones sold. Yeah, so way less this time. And that is how we can use a double number line to help us solve these questions relating to proportions. Now, remember, we can use them to go forward or go backward. And if I'm trying to figure out how do I get from one number to next, you're either using multiplication or division. You cannot use adding or subtracting because we're talking about proportions here. And the relationship between equivalent ratios or proportions is multiplicative, which means you could find those relationships by multiplying or dividing. Go ahead and try some problems on your own. Good luck.